Okay, we have a special guest in the mother effing house. Pew. Tan 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 tan. That is Mystic BioMan in the building. How is... Can everybody hear him pretty well? Let me lower the music. So, to introduce Mystic Sean, also known as Mystic BioMan, we met right here in the cosmic Unwind Mystic Village.
Yeah, we did, right?
And
almost 3 years ago.
Yeah, man, the way we have met, you were just looking, you were seeking. And he messaged me asking for me to be like he wanted to learn from Cosmic. And I was like, how can Cosmic be his life coach? And I'm like, just love your damn self.
Yeah. I asked you, actually, I was like, hey, can I pay you to be my life coach?
Yeah.
Because, that's just what I know how to do. Or that's what I did know how to do at the time, was lead with money, right? That's what I had an abundance of.
And of course, I did not grow up thinking like life coach. I just grew up knowing help people. Mm-hmm. And in the beginning, he got frustrated a bit because he wanted to learn, but I just didn't offer what he wanted. But because I knew something better, which is just unconditional love.
Right on. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, I wanted something else, right? I wanted somebody to fix me, basically, but you can't. It's just not the way it works. You have to be the change for yourself. You can show me the path, like we always like to say, like, you've shown me the path that I need to walk down, but only I can walk down that path for myself.
And your energy, your eyes, man, your aura has changed rapidly. And it's like, humbly say, and Mystic Jill is following in the path, finding her own, vibe and purpose. So I'm impressed with your work, because when you do good work, the people around you naturally will rise up. But of course, in the beginning times of the Mystic Village of Cosmic Unwind, we were a lot tougher in here. Like, the environment in here right now, y'all have it, is more gentle. Because the way I was being trained, I was also training the people who were anyone who's been here over a year knows what it means to bring down the Motras, what it means to bring down the Charizard.
Cosmic Hammer.
The Cosmic Hammer, like, that was an era that I got the hammer, and I got blessed by my teacher. And I didn't know I was blessing the people here too, because what that made and what that created for our brothers and sisters was just archangels.
Yeah, I mean, it's the truth though, right? It's the truth that we feel like is the cosmic hammer a lot of the time, because it's the truth that shatters the ego. Bringing down that truth on ourselves. It's one thing to hear it from somebody else, but it's one thing to hear it from yourself. Like when you go deep into meditation and you really accept the truths about yourself, those are the ones that really shatter the ego.
Exactly. Like right now, I know I'm getting overweight, and I can't. And my heart tells me, this is enough. I gotta do some shit about it. But if we don't learn to bring down that motress down on ourselves, then we'll never do some shit about it, because we're too comfortable with being too nice. I don't want to body shame myself. No. You feel like shit when you see yourself, right? Because you know that you can feel and look healthier for you, and your standard.
Absolutely.
Imagine, it's like, how do people gain weight, right? Let's say you wear a 30. Like, I used to wear a size 32 pants, and as I gained weight, I couldn't fit in my old jeans. Now, I couldn't fit so naturally I bought bigger jeans. And then I bought bigger jeans, which means instead of losing and maintaining that weight, we just get bigger jeans. But if we want to do the honest work and have a deep talk with ourselves, like, look, Cosmic, whatever you need to do, you need to sweat. You need to exercise. What you're doing with your life is good, but this part is lacking.
Yeah.
And that talk is what that's anyone who's been here for a while, a lot of people have that, and that's why the people who have been here for a while and they do the work, they end up being on the Archangel squad. Why? Because they're willing to be honest to themselves. It's not about their interaction with me, but about who they are with themselves.
Absolutely. Yeah, I've been preaching that a lot on my stream, is the taking care of both the mind, the body, and the soul, like all three of those things. That theme just keeps coming up over and over and over for me, especially when I'm doing the readings and trying to help other people, is the fact that if you don't take care of your body, it's going to affect your mind and your spirit eventually, right? You can go a while to where you're keeping the other two balanced, and it's kind of, the body's not dragging them down, and vice versa. The mind, if you don't take care of the mind, it's going to affect your body in a negative light and your spirit. So yeah, taking care of all three is something that I've really been emphasizing for people a lot in the stream, which I emphasize for myself, because without daily physical exercise, I have issues with my mind and my body. It's one thing that really helps with my anxiety, or it's like meditation and working out daily have just changed my life. I want to share that with people. It's like what I feel my purpose is to just simply share my story, and help teach people how to do it for themselves. That's it.
A lot of people have been coming in to ask, how do you find your purpose? That's been a very, I've been more vocal about find your calling, find your purpose. And a lot of the work of finding your purpose requires you being honest to yourself that something doesn't work. Right? When something's not working, and when things don't work, and you know they don't, what's the next step? This is the part. It means you just got to go out there and explore and fail, right?
Keep trying new things. Keep trying new things over and over and over again until you find what your purpose is, right? Like I had a year ago, I was not streaming. I didn't know anything about it. I didn't even know who I was at this point a year ago. I kind of had the idea of like, okay, meditation's working for me. I was still taking my anti-anxiety medication, depression medication at that time. Just starting to realize, like, okay, meditation is something that this works. Like, if I do this every day, I am a completely different person throughout my days. And then going through meditation more and more, and connecting to myself more, my true self, right? My spirit, soul, my light, whatever you want to call it. Connecting with that part of me. Eventually, I was like, okay, what can I do to help others? Like, I know that in order to find fulfillment within myself, my purpose, I need to serve others in some sort of capacity. So what could I do? I could stream, because I've been on Twitch my entire life. Well, not my entire life, but for 10 years. I've been on Twitch since it was just on TV as my main source of entertainment. Mainly watching video games. But that's how I found Cosmic and a bunch of other pretty good people. It's how I found out my son, Jim. He's a guy that streams fitness on Twitch, and that's where I got my workouts from. That's how I learned how to be in shape.
Okay, Mystic Dan Osprey says, it's difficult to differentiate the adult that put the truth about learning from life. Not sure. And just say shit about ourselves. It's difficult to differentiate the adult that put truth about learning from life. And just say shit about ourselves. I learn in this mystic village that is a balance to each things we have to do. Do one. What's that?
Nothing. Sorry.
Do one or two bad habits, but not force myself to be perfect. It's definitely when we're doing this work, the ego loves this shit to go to the extreme, right? Like, okay, it's like when we first get into something, like, for example, learning to quit smoking weed, the ego immediately thinks cold turkey. Like just cut the weed instantly, because the ego like, oh, no more life with no weed. It's so dramatic. No, no, no. All right.
Oh, for sure.
But the real work is like a step ladder. Well, for you went cold turkey, and sometimes you would jump back because that's your style. You're like the
I did that.
the Marines, the Marine style.
Yes, I probably quit throughout my life. I don't know. I honestly have no idea. Maybe a dozen times going cold turkey, quitting, and then going back to it. So I know I didn't want to do it anymore. Especially within the last 2 years of wanting to quit. And yeah, last year I ended up quitting like I think 3 times. January 1st was the first time, and then again before we came down here, and then again out in Montana, and then again after Arizona.
It's about access for you, like, you know, when you have access.
It has been, yeah.
Yeah, because now it's becoming legal. It's like people back then were drinking alcohol illegally, but when there was access everywhere, eventually it takes time to ground. But right now the weed is not grounding yet; it's just beginning. And so when we have access, the mind goes, well, I'm not going to be in Colorado forever. Let me just try going into the dispensary and getting that OG Kush, that's top shelf in the back that costs, you know, like all that. So it makes us feel a little bit more connected to our old, like, ooh, the smells. Ooh, I bring the pipe back, and then it triggers another door.
Absolutely, yeah. What's funny is when I went to, we were in Arizona, we couldn't stream, we didn't have internet, we were like basically on an island. Like, okay, well, let's go to the dispensary, why not? Like, just like you were saying. And I went there, and it was in a not so nice area of town, and it was just the most surreal experience that I've ever had in terms of like, dude, what am I doing here? Like, this is hell consciousness. I should be here to help people. I shouldn't be here to join in with them. Yeah.
Every time I've ever bought drugs, it was in a bad area of town.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this dispensary was not in a good place at all. There was some guy there that had just gotten out of jail, and he was like in the line, because there's a line, of course, because it had just gotten legalized. So there's always a line, people waiting to go in. And there's this guy just being loud and obnoxious the entire time, just gotten out of jail, saying that, I don't know, just the craziest stuff. I'm like, what am I doing? This is not good. Why am I doing this? And I still did it. Still went through with it. But
the ego will have you do some crazy shit.
Yeah, for sure.
But it
was a good lesson.
That's what makes life fun, though. You know, when you fall.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, we've all done some crazy shit, and some stuff you don't need to talk about, you know what I mean? Because you have changed, and some things are better left unsaid because they're so intimate that it helps you grow even more to be a good person, because you know. So Mystic Titus says,
that's what I was saying.
The cosmos have saved my mortal life numerous times now, and most recently, I've been dealing with the hardest and scariest situation of my life. And meditation, love my damn self, and being grounded has kept me sane through it all. Thank you, Mystic Village and the Cosmos. This brings...
I've been thinking about you, Titus. Yeah, you left us, and that's okay. It happens all the time. But it's awesome that you're back. I sincerely have thought about you probably at least once a week, and how you're doing, where you are.
That one guy that could do the full lotus, right? And had a good vibe for that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
He dumped us. Oh my God.
No, I never thought about it like that. I'm like, I just hope he's doing well.
Baby, don't hurt me no more. Welcome back, Mystic Titus. Idol, nice to see you. Which brings us to a conversation about how community is so important.
Spiritual Sangha.
The Sangha, the spiritual, and the authentic community, man. It's so hard to find a authentic spiritual community that will actually help and support you, make your life better. But one, like I've just been blessed that I've always had that in my life. Okay, I don't want to say that. It was always accessible, but I chose to be in hell instead.
Mm-hmm. That's something that I haven't had.
Yeah.
Throughout my life. I mean, I'm sure I could have, if I would have, accepted Jesus into my heart. Just put it bluntly, right? Like, if I would have done that, then yeah, maybe I could have had a sort of spiritual community within my own, like where I was at the time. But yeah,
but that just wasn't that wasn't your path, basically.
And not my path for sure. And I don't. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just not for me. And I don't think it was a true spiritual community like I've experienced now. Like, I don't think that what I've experienced here in Houston is something that you get very often, to put it easily. It's something that's not easy to cultivate, but also not easy to maintain, because there can be the ego if you don't keep it in check, and if the people around you aren't being kept in check as well, it can spiral out of control pretty easily. I can see that happening. Not necessarily here, but just in general. I think it'd be pretty easy for it to happen. So.
Yeah, and that's why, like, I do my best to be humble, but sometimes you have to use, like, your leadership to make a point. And some people may call that ego, but I wouldn't know all this shit unless I met a real master who showed me how to use leadership to make your community and uplift them. And whatever I'm learning, I learn directly from a great master. But I also stay humble, but I learn how to use my ego. I learn how to use my position, because if we're too nice all the time and we don't learn to use what we have, then why do we have it? Yeah. And if we misuse,
use the truth.
Yeah, and if we misuse our power, people will leave anyways. But people are staying for a long ass time, like over 30 months. Like, why are they still here? If I'm an asshole or something, right?
Yeah, I think for the people who really understand it, they understand that it's coming from a place of love, even if it's not what they want to hear. Yeah. Maybe even if it's not the truth to them. Like, I mean, there's really only one truth, but if their ego doesn't like it, right? It's still they still from a deeper understanding, they know that it's coming from a place of love, not just from your ego or wanting to tell them that you're right, I'm wrong, whatever.
And it's not comfortable, and I'm sure you've been experiencing this in your stream too. Like, eventually it's like somebody just comes only for the card reading and shit.
Yes, I've had that a couple times, and I've actually taken your advice and been like, okay, well, I put my foot down. Not necessarily put my foot down, but I just say, look, this is what's happening. I tell them the truth, and then they don't come back, which is fine. I
remember that one time I grilled somebody, Mystic Plant Radionics.
Oh yeah, he hasn't been back.
Yeah, well. I know that because it's easier to blame me. It's so easy. Yeah. It's convenient when your ego's hurt. It's Cosmic's fault. It's Mystic BioMan's fault.
The victim mindset, right? And we talked about that a lot in my stream today. Being not playing the victim anymore in your life, accepting responsibility for everything that's ever happened in your life, no matter what. You've had a role to play. Even if you grew up in a household where you were basically brainwashed, you still had the choice to not believe that brainwashing. It can be hard to accept, but accepting your role, your responsibility, so that you can forgive yourself, so that you can then forgive others and move on.
And that's why, and because we're such a really intimate and deep community, people can ask any question and get legit answers. And that's why it's and it's not just coming from me. This community is so rich in that we're so vulnerable with our shit. And if you're not vulnerable, we will help you be vulnerable.
Yeah, for sure. Even if it's awkward for you.
Exactly.
And trying to do it in a fun way, but
yeah, we're moving towards more of a group chat style now, right? As you can see, and more of a questioning. Like, you ask random questions, And you also open up, like, now that we have a stance on the ear licking stuff, people know when to speak from their heart on something that will add value when there's somebody that's closed-minded and is here to is here with ignorance. They just don't know better, right? Mm-hmm. Mystic Purple Tree says, was talking about purpose. Depends on your idea of purpose. From what I understand is that we are the purpose. As a collective, we are here for growth. We all have unique faculties, and finding those things within yourself is the purpose. In using them, service for humanity, I feel, is the true purpose. What do you have to say about purpose, my brother?
Purpose. There's many different paths that we can walk down. That is like our point of free will, is that we can choose whatever path we want to walk down. I imagine my life is just like a tree of different paths going outward to infinity, basically. Each time I make a choice, I go down a new path. And there is one path that leads me to a fulfilled life, a life of happiness. Because as humans, what are we all at the end of the day seeking? We're all seeking to be happy. We just want to feel true happiness and joy in our lives. That comes with purpose. Like, that comes with fulfillment. And in my experience, and from what many others have experienced, it means service and serving others. You have to love yourself first, but at a certain point, you also have to serve others through love of yourself. That makes sense. I know it's kind of convoluted, but yeah.
No,
purpose. Go ahead.
I absolutely agree. Like, whenever I first found, when you're looking for your passion, before you find purpose, you're like interested in finding, what is my passion? And the only way to truly find out is by looking at role models, people who had purpose. So I didn't know what my purpose was, but I sat in meditation and thought about how all the people that influenced me, what were they doing? Right? They were serving. They were doing something more than just for themselves. Now, some people's purpose may not be, or there's different standards for purpose, that's for sure. Right? So it's up to you who you listen to. But what I chose to listen to is who I believe was I'm looking for, the word is called profound purpose, like fulfilled, like Jesus and Buddha. Why? Because that's the best like, imagine that you're so dope, people still talk about you 4,000 years later.
For sure.
I'm like, I'll go for that one.
Ones, right?
I'm like, I will choose you, Pikachu. Like, I choose that one. Because why not? Right? Why not be inspired by the best of us? Right? Why not? And so, but we also know that the sacrifice it takes to walk that journey is highly uncomfortable. Highly uncomfortable. I mean, the Buddha had to sit in meditation for like 49 days to reach enlightenment, and Jesus had to carry that cross. They betrayed him and did all crazy stuff. But we still can be, there's so much inspiration and purpose to be found that imagine that there are people they will give their life to what they believe in, and that's because it's like they're doing something that they believe is way greater than them, that they're willing to do anything to make it happen. And then that's when I ask, okay, how can I find my own version? So I literally combined Mystic Bob Marley, the Buddha, Jesus, Michael Beckwith, Thich Nhat Hanh, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna combine all this, and then I'm gonna add my own flair into it. And what came out?
Make it yours.
Exactly. So that long hair and stuff that came from being inspired by hippies who had long dreaded hair, but then my teachers like Bob Marley and Michael Beckwith had dreadlocks. I got dreadlocks.
You want to get those back?
Depends. If I walk the music route,
yeah,
it's highly possible but it takes a lot of maintenance, so that's the issue. That's the main part. That's the issue.
Right on.
What is the biggest obstacle for you in opening your mind towards self-love? Like before you became spiritual, what was like the biggest obstacle that you experienced? Well, let's be more practical. What was, you used to smoke weed for 20 years. Let's get on that part. Okay?
Yeah, sure.
What made you, what was the catalyst that got you over the hump of like, you know what, enough is enough?
I had felt that it was dragging me down for the better part of like 4 years, I want to say. I was blaming it for a lot of things, though. I mean, let's be real. I was using it as an excuse for my trading, for my relationships, for my life in general. And yeah, sure, it is something that negatively affects me in a way that is unique to me. Not saying that it affects everybody in the same light, but it is something that I suppose, looking back on it now, I hadn't thought about it until just this moment, but looking back on it now, it was just affecting my consciousness. Like it was dimming my light, to so to speak, to the point where I wasn't able to use it. I wasn't able to use that part of me, that spiritual side of me, to improve my life and do the things that I wanted to do, like I'm able to do now. Like have discipline. Discipline's always been really big for me. It's been a big issue for me throughout my life. Military helped because I was forced into discipline, so kind of learned a little bit of it there, but I didn't really carry over once I got out of the military as much because I was like, freedom, now I can do whatever I want. And then I let go of it. But the light bulb didn't switch on for me, I suppose. Again, it's been about 4 years now of wanting to quit after smoking for like a year or so after getting out of the military and working at a pharmaceutical, at a corporate job that I hated. And just progress, meditation over and over and over again, just going deep within. I had a really deep meditation a little over a year ago now. It was like right when I first quit cold turkey last January, which was like the hardest time I've ever had because I'd been smoking ridiculous amounts during COVID and when they legalized it in Illinois. So
yeah.
Yeah, I went crazy. We spent over $10,000 on weed in 1 year. And
how much?
It was like over $10,000 in 2021 or 2020. And it was like, the strongest stuff that you can possibly buy.
You were smoking exotics, like top shelf.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
That's why it's addictive, because you got the good shit.
Yeah, like we're talking like if it wasn't above 20% THC, I wasn't going to buy it.
Okay.
And that has like a crazy huge effect on your mind. Like,
it's crack. It's like a crack. It's like that effect. It's such a sharp high. Was your ear ringing and shit too when you were smoking? Like, did you feel?
No, I had slurred speech. Like I got to the point where I was like, like I was like numb, comatose basically.
Damn. But you weren't doing dabs, right? Like smoking shards.
No, never did that. But we did the cartridges every once in a while. Those are like same thing, 90% or whatever. But
but I wanna touch on something you told me before. You had a process of, and this is a big deal. You had a process of where you were sitting under the shower. Can you tell us about that, please?
Sure. Yeah. So last January 1st of 2021, I decided I wasn't going to smoke weed anymore, and I decided I was going to meditate every day for a year and just see what happens. And the shower has always been my place of comfort, and it took me a while to figure out why. But when I was a kid, in the morning before school, I would take a shower, and there was like a warm vent on the floor in the shower, and I would, in the winter, I would go in there after just waking up, and I didn't want to wake up obviously because it's like 6 o'clock in the morning, and I'd lay on the floor and listen to the shower run in front of the warm vent, and just like that's like being like in a womb basically, right? And so when I would try to quit smoking, I would go into the shower, and back in January, I laid on the bathroom floor for like 8 hours a night meditating for 8 hours because I couldn't sleep. There was like 5 days in a row where I couldn't fall asleep because of the withdrawals that I was going through that were so heavy. And people say that there's no physical addiction with weed, but there definitely at the point at which I was smoking it, there definitely was. I mean, for me personally, there's no way you can't tell me that wasn't physical addiction. My body couldn't regulate temperature. I went through it multiple times, and every time the same thing. I'm like, okay, my body's not regulating temperature. I can't sleep. I'm like having these like weird pains and all this kind of stuff. So, I laid on the bathroom floor for 8 hours a night for 5 nights in a row on a baby mattress, heaviest baby mattress, because that's just what we had in the bathroom. It's more comfortable than tile. And I just let the shower run. And I laid in there and meditated on the baby mattress instead of sleeping. And that's when like I would have like crazy meditations, one of which I saw my older self. I met my older self, and I met like a 20-year-old version of Evie canoeing to me on a shore. I like talked to myself. I was like super proud of myself for doing it. And Evie was super proud of me. She gave me a hug, all this kind of stuff. We talked for a little bit.
Wow, so you're in kind of like in a thin veil. Your consciousness was very fragile. So you're having a lot of outer body or dreamy, or was it a dream?
No, it definitely wasn't. I was awake the whole time for sure, because I was sitting up during that one. At least as far as I'm aware, because I like woke. I came out of it crying, basically, right? So that's the only reason I would say that I wasn't really asleep, but I was definitely in that thin veil for sure. Maybe I was, maybe I wasn't.
I asked that because I had also a very similar experience when I used to come home from doing like ecstasy all night, and I would be covered in like smell of cigarettes because they smoke like 2 packs indoor where the trap house. So now I have such a, like, it makes me feel yucky. I would come home at like 4 a.m. or 3 a.m. and I would just turn on a hot bath and I was just laying there in misery. Like I was just miserable, but taking that hot bath was keeping me going. Like it was the cleansing that I needed because the energy of it was feeling dirty. So there was it's like on a more Christian level, that's baptizing yourself from,
essentially,
like cleansing.
Water is so healing. I mean, the body is made up of 70% of water, right? It's 70% plus of water. So we need water to survive. Like that's the one thing that we really need. We can go without food for a very long time. We can't go without water for that long. And just putting the body itself in water is, I find it to be very therapeutic personally. I love swimming. I love going for, there's a hot tub here, so I love doing that. I love going to the ocean. Every time I'm near the ocean, I at least have to go in. I don't care how cold it is. I'll freeze my ass off for 10 seconds and I'll jump in that water. I don't care. It is, you're right. It's a cleansing experience.
So I'm curious about your views on ear licking, because this is the hot new direction that we're going in.
Sure.
Because I need help on this issue, and we need to have these discussion. I think that's going to be a core question every guest, because I want to, so that it's not just me telling people and shit.
Sure.
Okay. So whatever your views.
It's a very intimate experience. Right. It's basically like, it's intimacy in a certain form. It might not be, the physical touch, but they are indirectly physically touching you because they are creating sound vibrations with their tongue into a microphone that then reverberates the same sound waves into your ear, which is a physical wave of energy is touching your ear. So they're technically physically touching you indirectly, right? I know people would argue with that, but so that is intimacy on like one of the higher levels is through touch, and allowing a stranger to do that to you without any sort of love is it's something that you're trying to do where you're trying to fill a hole in your heart. I feel like you're trying to fill a void that you aren't getting from yourself at the deepest level. But I know everybody wants to find love from somebody else, right? Because it's easier to blame, just like it's easier to blame somebody else. A lot of people think that it's easier to seek love from another person than it is to love yourself, because it's what we've taught ourselves for so long. So it makes sense that a lot of people would gravitate towards that because they're seeking love from another person. How do they get love? Through intimacy. How do they get intimacy? Through ear licking. So it makes sense. It's unfortunate, I think, that Twitch has let it go as far as it has. I could understand somewhat, maybe, like to the point, like I've seen some ridiculous clips of people, because I'm on Twitter, and I saw a literal porn actress on Twitch just shoving the mic in and out of her mouth, and basically wearing nothing. I'm like, how is this allowed on Twitch? This doesn't make any sense. There's 13-year-old kids on it. It blows my mind that they allow it. Obviously they do it for money. They're a large corporation. They put profits ahead of everything. So it'll take a large group of people standing up to it for it to change. And I think we could be that group of people. We could at least start the movement, for sure. I think there's a lot of people that don't like it, that just don't want to stand up against Twitch because they're big name streamers. But maybe if
What do you think will be the biggest obstacle in speaking out? What do you think would be the biggest obstacle? How about this? I think
shaming, the aspect, or the wokeness, if you will, of shaming women. I think probably be the number one thing that will be tough to get over, because people see like, oh, she's just expressing herself freely. Why do you want to try and bring her down? That's fine. You can do that. You're more than welcome to do that. Just not on a site that has 13-year-olds, right?
Yeah.
Go do it on a site that's 18 plus. But yeah.
Yeah. So what is your part in this?
I've been streaming in ASMR the past 3-4 days.
And how has that experience been to be your neighbor?
It's I haven't really thought about it, to be honest with you. I've just been in there because the reason I found you was because of ASMR, right? So I was looking for ASMR at that time. There was zero ear licking on Twitch. It was all just the
artists, like real ASMR.
Different triggers with like tapping on like hard objects, or like brushes and stuff like that. Just like different triggers. So I understand where people are coming from in terms of ASMR, because they're looking for that relaxing sensation, because that's what it provides, right? It's an auditory response. Your body is physically relaxing due to sound. So that makes sense. However, if you like that, let me tell you about meditation. that's where I'm coming from. Like if you like ASMR, and trust me, I do. I used to like it as well. Have you ever tried your breath? Because if you practice it, it's a million times better than ASMR on like a completely different level. And that's why I'm in the ASMR space, is to, my whole purpose is to teach people how to meditate, because it's changed my life. I know for a fact that it can change other people's lives. I've seen it, and I'm not special. So if I can share that with other people, then I can hopefully get them to not enjoy ear licking. Or finally realize that there's something more. There's something better out there than ear licking. But yeah.
So Mystic Bio Woman says, okay, let's see. There's a big difference between ASMR, ear licking, and ear licking. I see a place for genuine ASMR, although I never actually experienced ASMR other than Cosmic's Feather, which I enjoy. I can tell what we're doing, like, the cosmos is telling me, like, this issue and whatever we're standing up for in here is bigger than what we imagine. Like, what would the journey that we're going on right now, it's going to press so many buttons, but they're gonna wake so many people up. And that's why it's not Twitch activism. It's not, there's no, it's not seen. Like, it's not a thing.
So going back to the why do they allow it, right? So they allow it because it makes them money, right? They're getting a portion of the revenue that comes from the ASMR streamers that they're pretty popular. They make a decent amount of revenue for the company Amazon. But one thing that corporations will stand up for more than profits is if people make a big deal out of it, and they come together and say, hey, this is enough, this is ridiculous, and they start getting bad press because of the what's going on, and then they'll, at that point, they'll be like, oh yeah, no, we don't allow that, we don't stand for that. That's when moral response will weigh heavier than profits,
which will take time, but that's the one thing we do have. And I'm sure as we move along the way, there's going to be new techniques in helping people wake up, and new revelations that will help people bring light onto this issue. But I always bring the awareness of that. I'm glad the porn stars are coming over here, because we couldn't do this on a porn website. We couldn't do this on a, like, modeling cam website. But
you don't want to do it there. That's the place for them to be. And that there's, I mean, you could argue that there shouldn't be any place in that for society. That's fine. But it's, this is a place where it definitely shouldn't be. And if we can reach just the young children who are listening to it at this point, right? The 13, 14-year-old boys, 15-year-old boys that are out there watching these streams, because they can, right? They can be on Twitch. Even if it says 18 plus, it doesn't matter. They can get on the stream.
On a more legal and practical level, I agree about standing up for his children highly, and that's something people can rally against. But exactly. Of course, my bigger thing would be helping people, educating people on why are 1,000 people watching the ear licking versus another ASMR artist who's been on longer, who has clothes on, right?
Who's better at it, even, like, not better at ear licking, but just better at the art of ASMR, because ASMR isn't art, in my opinion. It's, if you're good at it and you do the different triggers that, not in a sexual way, it is really, really pretty cool stuff.
But the people that make the most money and like, here's what I did. I go to the ASMR section and I go to the filter and I go to popular, most views. And at the top of all that shit, because here's the thing, if they put popular on top, literally you would just see nothing but ear licking, which is what's happening.
I mean, it's a meta, right? that got changed within the last, I don't know, year and a half or so.
I'm gonna check right now to see if I'm still viewers to high. Yep. Okay. And I do this, right? If you go right now to the ASMR section and you go to sort by and you look at viewers, okay? 2,000 people watching. All right, this looks like, it's like somebody said it's softcore porn.
It is, yeah.
And some of these people are on all day, like, right? Some artists are on all day. Now, we respect women, but what we trying to bring awareness on is I would say the attachment and the ego, right? The desire, the looking like but what's important to me is people's fulfillment. Yeah. Right. But that may not be something people will rally against, because that is that's a mainstream issue, desire. That's why we have strip clubs. That's why we have Amazon. We win a lot of shit, but we don't have happiness. That's my thing. But this is something that's more practical, and practical is more useful than, right? Practicality is more useful than philosophy, because some people might not give a shit about philosophy, but they will look at that and like, a 13-year-old who can sign up for Twitch.tv has access to that shit. Mm-hmm. And how do we make, right? And I guess moving forward, this stream is going to be uncomfortable for some people.
Could be. It always has been, though, right? Mm-hmm. It's never been about comfortability for you. I mean, your stream has been anyways. Mm. You cater to some sort of demographic every once in a while. Mm. But I feel like you don't have to anymore, right? Like, I feel like you were maybe only doing a little bit of that just to get partner, because you have to first, to keep the viewers entertained and to keep them there. From time to time, you do have to do some ASMR type stuff if you're in the ASMR section. You have to keep your voice low. You have to talk about not too heavy topics, because that really can...
your boundaries, because it's just tough to turn off. You want to find a good balance. But how have you been develop your stream to make the meditation a bit like, how have you been developing your stream to make meditation more enticing for new people?
I've been doing guided meditations for anybody that comes by that's new. Like a personalized guided meditation with the tarot is really, really, really awesome. So I let them pick the tarot cards. Or in this case, I've been doing it with the oracle cards, the color and animal. They can see that they're a, what do we get today? A tangerine owl and I forget what it was, a pink dolphin, I think, or something like that. And, or no, a lavender dolphin. That's what it was. But, so I'll pull the cards and then I'll do a personalized guided meditation for them. And depending, like, I'll ask them a few questions about, like, their experience with meditation. Have they ever meditated before? If so, how often do you meditate? What do you find that works? What do you find that doesn't? And then I'll do my little general beginning guided meditation where I'll say, you're focusing on the breath, in and out, in and out. The mind will get distracted. That's fine. When it does, just gently bring it back. Let go. Don't cause too much judgment. And I kind of do just a general overview of what meditation should be, as opposed to what people think it is, right? Because people think it just means, okay, I'm sitting down and now I'm relaxed. That is what happens. I just should be relaxed right now. And that's not the case, right? So, yeah, I've been doing the tarot and doing personalized guided meditations to make it fun for people, especially new people that come by. And I think a lot of people have been liking that. We have had a couple new viewers in the past week that have stuck around and keep coming back. And one of them she's been meditating for 2 years, she said, and only at night, only to fall asleep. And I'm like, okay, well, have you ever tried meditating in the morning? And she said no. And this week she's been meditating every day in the morning and doing yoga. And she said her life is like changing already. I'm like, yep, just keep doing that. It's not going to be as easy because you have a lot of motivation and drive to do it in the morning right now. That's going to fade, but you need to keep your practice of doing it in the morning. And yeah, she's been pretty cool.
And a couple more questions left. What are you looking forward to our event at Medicine for the People? What is that's coming up quickly? What is in your heart? What are you looking forward to gathering amongst other practitioners of many of the wide spectrum?
Learning in general, learning new things, right? Like I've never been to an event like this before.
Mm.
So learning more from other people so that I can learn more about myself, I guess would be the best way to describe it. Learning how to drum. I read the schedule. There's like a learn how to drum thing. Teach kids how to hula hoop. Different forest walks, foraging type stuff. Just gaining more information that I can use to improve my life, so that I can use that information to then improve others' lives. Because, like, as you know, I like to teach. I didn't really know that about myself. But yeah, you pointed that out many times, and it's true. You're right. I do. I like to talk about how I've improved my life, and then show people how maybe they can do it for them. I know that everybody is unique, especially when it comes to meditation, spirituality type stuff. But I've gained a wealth of knowledge for myself, and I will continue to gain that for the rest of my life. I want to be a lifelong learner. But in doing so, I can be like a Wikipedia for people. Just ask me questions. I'll share with you what worked for me. Try it. Maybe it'll work for you. If not, we'll find out something that does work for you. So, for the event, I'm really excited to hang out with you guys for an entire weekend. Hang out with my spiritual community.
And you have your whole house with you.
Yeah, it's gonna be nice. Yeah, we'll have the ability to let people take showers if they want after a couple of days of being out in the sun, the heat. Maybe it'll be nice. Who knows? We'll have our stove so we can cook. We can boil water. Whatever it is people need, we'll have our entire house here with us. We're excited to actually camp and not be in our house. But if anybody wants to sleep on our bed, we'll see. We'll have it open for some close friends if they want to experience some air conditioning for a day or something. They're more than welcome to use it.
So what we're bringing to Medicine for the People, we're bringing a physical mystic village, a giant tent that we're going to be doing a full service energy clearing, reading. Basically, the moment somebody walks in, we're going to welcome them like it's a temple, that we have all the archangels tending the space. Now, it's not mandatory. I'm going to be there most of the time because that's my duty. Everybody can do whatever they want, but there's going to be energy clearing, pouring tea. There's going to be card reading. There's going to be guided meditation. We're going to have an oming circle. We're going to om at somebody also. That's one thing. And then we're going to have
oming circle, right?
Yeah, we're going to have meditation and sound healings, basically. But all of this is going to happen organically. When there's people and we can see the vibes maybe high, we'll bring crystal singing bowls out. When people are on the low, we bring out the tea. When people are curious, we bring out the cards. But we all help facilitate and harmonize together. But we're all going to have duties that we could do and anyone could do. And that's because it's about all of us doing our part. Because humanity is just part of we're just a part of the machine, right? Of a loving, compassionate machine. But this machine is just love. Right? That's the power that's operating. But somebody needs to be the arm. Somebody needs to be guiding the meditation. And if you ever, if there's a chance where you get to step up and guide a meditation, or if I'm playing the singing bowl, I will, and I see it. Why don't you, I would invite you to use words to uplift people. So you can work on that, because I know that will happen 100, right? The singing bowls are going to go. And you're going to start, okay, so everybody take a deep breath in. Welcome to the Mystic Village, right? Allow your body to settle and feel the vibrations around you. That we're all here to unite in peace and harmony. Whatever, you can visualize that. And then I will invite you, and I'm sure Brother Alex or anybody that feels comfortable can do that. Then we'll have somebody playing the big bowl, like maybe Mystic Jill. Dong. So all of this is just going to create a little, like it says, utopia.
Yeah.
And making it fun, that's the main part. Making priceless memories. Because the more fun we have, the more people are going to want to come back. And the more memories, the more excited, the more inspiration we can share with each other. And I guess this will be the final question. On the path to finding your damn self, what can you tell our brothers and sisters? By the way, if you have not followed the BioHut, okay, this is a time to okay. So on the path to finding true happiness and fulfillment within your heart, can you give our brothers and sisters some words of encouragement?
Just don't give up. That's it. Simple as that. Just don't give up. Don't give up on yourself. It's a different path for everyone. It's not going to be easy, I promise you that. It's going to be difficult. But the only things in life worth anything are things that are difficult. They're not things that are easy. So walk down that difficult path and you will find fulfillment eventually. You might have to go through some murky mud. You might have to go through the dark. You might have to find yourself in a place that you never thought you would find yourself. But if you continue on, if you don't give up, eventually you will find yourself.
Yeah. And when the people are looking for that, what does the BioHut offer to help them? What do you do there?
We like to talk about practical stuff. We do some philosophical type questions as well. We talk a lot about philosophy, but mostly we talk about practicality. How can I set goals? What do I need to do to achieve those goals? How do I meditate? What is meditation? We can help you with the practical things. Like we can get you to become a much better meditator if that's what your goal is. We can get you to be much more in physical shape if that's what your goal is. We can get you to set goals just in general and teach you where, if I don't know the knowledge, we'll find out together, and I can at least guide you into the right direction. If I can't, like I said, we'll figure it out together. But yeah, a lot of practical knowledge that can be applied to loving your damn self and improving the self day over day. 1% improvement a day. The slow, steady gains will lead to a 3,700% or 37 times betterment of yourself over the course of a year. So if you improve just 1% a day, you'll be 37 times better by the end of the year.
Well, thank you for the presence of our brothers and sister, Mystic Sean, also Mystic Joe is there. And we'll have to do a little interview another time. But
you'll definitely have to get her on.
Sure. Thank you for doing your work, my brother, and thank you for your sacrifice. But that sacrifice just only brought you more happiness. So I guess sacrifice to be happy.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
you gotta sacrifice to be happy.
Yeah, absolutely. We have to do the work, and that's why meditate your damn self. Check out the BioHut. This is Mystic Sean, and thank you for coming on, my brother. Namaste.
Thank you.
Thank you.